No, to decide who.
We're going.
All right.
Now.
Here we go.
This meeting is live.
No Greg,
Live
I
on
guess.
YouTube. Greg who?
Oh, dear Lord.
Dear Lord Greg.
Ah.
Here we go.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Noon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Max.
Welcome to Rat Salad Review. Hello. Oh, James has joined us.
Hey, James.
Hey, you dirty bastard. How you doing?
Oh, he's here after all.
Who says I can't make an appearance? Just right at the right time.
Nice
There
haircut.
he
by the way.
is.
You
James, are you
know,
gonna
I
be
have
able
an
to
air show. I have
get
an air
scalped
show
by an
tomorrow,
Indian?
so I had to get all motivated and had my hair cut. So since I got to
had one of those
participate,
once.
What, a haircut?
Yeah, once. Hey,
yeah, it has been a while.
James, are you going to be able to stay the whole show or not?
I will be able to sit majority of the show unless she yells for me. So if
Gotcha.
I cut out real quick.
Is she doing okay?
Oh yeah, she's doing great.
All
It's
right.
one of the it's a normal thing that she has every 6 months.
Well, it doesn't sound like any fun, so I wish her the best. So,
Definitely, same here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hope everything is okay.
I mean, anyone who can tolerate you has got to be a strong
Oh.
woman, James.
For 12 years actually, because
I mean, this woman has
because
got to.
last weekend was last Sunday was our 12th year anniversary. She's been
Wow.
tolerating me for 12 years.
Wait,
Married,
how
by
long
the
were
way.
you dating before you got married?
How long? 4 months.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
James.
Damn, smooth operator.
Yeah, James. Wow.
I knew. Okay.
Did she know? No, just kidding.
She still doesn't.
No, she still
She's
doesn't
still
know.
thinking about it.
She's still on the fence.
Literally.
All
Anyway,
right.
Wow, good one there, Wayne.
what?
She can't get on the fence.
Oh, come on. We were not going
You
there.
can't climb up that high, okay?
That's not where I
come
was
on.
going. That's not
Come
where I was
on,
going
man.
with that.
Jeez. All right, James, if she kills you, that's not on me, just to let you know.
Oh,
She
you think
does
this
it
is the
does,
first
you
time
won't stop
I've made a paralyzed girl joke? No.
She's never
I
heard
thought-
one before.
Yeah, she's heard all of them. I mean, I always say like if you're going to see me dead, you're going to see little tire marks all over me.
You know what? It'll be a justifiable homicide.
It probably
James.
would be. All right.
Absolutely.
At this point, it's justifiable.
And hopefully it happens on this show. Welcome everybody to
What
Rat
is this,
Salad
Logan
Review.
Paul?
Welcome everybody.
wonderful Liquid Death.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And I have some ginger ale right here.
I got a
my
big
people
ass mug of water, ice water.
Wow.
Yep. Well, I'm drinking water as well. I'm just drinking the proper water.
Ah,
Lou, we have some things to talk about first before we do this
Yeah,
show.
you got some business to attend to.
we got some ish. We got some ish, my
We
friend.
do.
Okay.
We do. Show
Well,
us the first thing that you showed me before we got on here.
oh, the first thing. Okay. So if everybody recalls back in I think it was October, November of 2021, we made the official announcement that Wayne, myself, George Dimitri, and the awesome Peterborough, Ontario, Canada resident, Mr. John Whitten of Shockwire, were picked to be on a Def Leppard tribute album. And the song that we picked to play was On Through the Night, which you can find that video on my channel and the Rat Salad Review YouTube channel. Well, I'm happy to say we got a copy of the CD in hand.
Finally. Wow.
In fact, we have one copy that we are willing to do a raffle for.
Ooh.
So this is all you got to do. Now pay attention. So Rat Salad Review, we're closing in on 1,000 subs. We're over the 830 mark at this point. So we're about 170 people away. Now I know y'all be watching because these Judas Priests Iron Maiden battles that we've been doing have been getting a lot of engagement from you people. Now, we don't know if you're subscribed or not. We're not stalkers like that. So we're going to flat out say right now, if you haven't subscribed, If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe. And the 1,000th subscriber to Rat Salad Review will get their own copy signed by me and Wayne.
Wow.
And we will make sure that we send it to you directly.
Well, I'm not
All
going
right.
to go drive to their door.
Well, we know that Wayne will be the one with the X. That's how you'll know he's
So
signed.
that's pretty much what you'll know how to be Wayne. Yeah.
What do you mean
Yeah.
directly? We're not going to drive to the
I
house.
You're a
What was the-
mailman.
Like,
I've driven to you. I'll drive to you again. It's
You're
all
a
right.
mailman. You can drive.
You can drive
directly to
anywhere.
their
What the
house.
Yeah,
hell?
come on, speedy delivery. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Come
come
on.
on, friggin' yeah.
Uh,
Now it's
Uh,
funny to me. I heard that you found another person from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada.
Yes, John Witten of Shockwire.
Well, you understand that's where my grandmother is. My grandmother is from, and where my father was also born in the great
yes,
town
I
of Peterborough.
well aware that you have descendancy from the great Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Yes,
Wonderful
So it's-
cottage country.
two awesome people from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada that I know personally. So so I'm very excited. Actually, here are some of the songs that are on it. You got Hello America, Rock Rock Till You Drop, Rock of Ages. A really good unplugged version of Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad. Let It Go, performed by Roxy Blue. If anyone recalls who they were around like back in '92. Photograph, Lady Strange, Miss You in a Heartbeat. Also, Chef Leopard, which is a tribute. I know, but the significance is that they are a tribute band with the original drummer of Def Leppard, Mr. Tony Kenning.
Oh,
And they get
that's
two songs on this. They get Women and they get Wasted.
which is two more
cool.
songs than he actually ever appeared on a real Def Leppard album.
cool.
I don't even think it was on. I don't think he can be found on the early years box set. I don't even think he's on it.
I've
Yeah.
got it. I don't think he's on who. I got to look at it. I haven't looked at
Well,
that
we were
thing in a while.
discussing it earlier today. You got the first Wasted album, Vices, and
Yeah, Frank Noon,
but
right?
Frank Noon was never an
No
official
relation.
member of Def Leppard. He was just their fill-in drummer for their EP so they could record it. And then they found Rick Allen and they went out and gigged behind it.
I have a Def Leppard book called Hysteria that was written like in '87. That's worth money. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, continue.
Wait, Animal Magnetism, that book?
Yeah, that one.
Oh my God, that's written by one of the writers of Kerrang. I want to say Mick Wall, actually.
I've got it somewhere. I'll have to find it.
Okay,
eventually.
yeah. Also, here's the funny thing. If anyone recalls a couple of years ago when Vinnie Vincent was trying to make his big comeback, quote unquote, and he decided to go with somebody else other than Robert Fleischman. He decided to go with Jim Crean. Well, Jim Crean is on this, and he gets two songs. But I think he sang to a karaoke track of the
Oh my
original Def
God.
Leppard.
Oh no!
I love it.
Oh, no.
I love it. I want
hope
more
you're
of
making
this.
that
I'm
up,
like,
Lou.
wait a
More.
minute, that's a Phil Collins solo right there.
I hope you're making that up, Lou.
No,
Oh,
no.
It's too good. It's too good to not make up. That's the problem. That
I
story is
know,
too
that's
I
good
the
to
almost
not make
crashed
up.
my car yesterday. I was cracking up listening to that. Two Steps Behind, Us Doing On Through the Night, Love Bites, and Me and My Wine, which is pretty cool. I mean, good album. I'm biased. I think we're the best one. So yeah.
A lot of older songs on there.
yeah,
Which suits me just fine.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
that is
Uh,
cool.
And so, yes, so the 1,000th subscriber to the Rat Salad Review YouTube channel will get their own copy signed by.
Me
Oh,
and you.
I would like to get us all to sign it, but we all live in different states except for me and Wayne.
Yeah. I mean, we can mail it to each other.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
just
mail it, but that's gonna get interesting.
That's gonna
yeah,
get real expensive.
just the two of you guys.
but
You
anyways,
two will sign it.
1,000 subscriber gets their copy signed by me and Wayne. So
1,000.
subscribe.
You get
Subscribe.
you get the 500,000. Then we'll actually do the whole thing where we actually sign stuff.
Yeah, we'll actually sign it at your house.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
Brave. That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Wow,
Well-
1,000 subscribers will probably be about maybe 3 years from now.
Well,
So-
Lou, you gave me hope. When I do my Alice Cooper tribute album, I'm not going to hire musicians. I'm just going to have a karaoke machine and just record it that way.
amazing.
I was dumbfounded at how obvious that sounded. I was like, dude, you played to a karaoke track? Really?
That's
Anyways,
what I'm going to do. That's
Yeah,
it.
But-
don't
How
be
does that get
jelly.
through?
Yeah.
How does that get through?
In all seriousness, though, there's a couple of people that I do want to thank for this. I want to thank Miss Karen Fairchild Meyer of the Def Leppard Die Hard Facebook page, because she's the one that was pushing for us to be on it. I want to thank Lorelei Shellist, Steve Clark's former fiance, and Helen Cullen, Phil's wife, for being on my podcast in the first place and getting us in Karen's getting our attention, or us getting her attention. So I have to thank them. And I want to thank Steve from F&M Records for having us, giving us this opportunity to have it on a nationwide distributed tribute album. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, and we deserve to be on that compilation. So
Well, we do got to thank George and John and Alex. They did a great job.
No, they're terrible.
Oh my God, you're a dick.
If me and James
How are you going to be
knew-
dealing with these?
If me and James knew all we needed to do was sing to a karaoke machine, we would deserve.
You guys could have
to
been
be-
on the compilation.
I
we
don't
didn't
want
sing
to
the-
break somebody because I can't sing. I am all friggin' musician in the back. All right.
Doesn't
I'm
matter,
not going to sing.
James.
No,
This is
no.
our chance at stardom, and now
No.
we've lost our chance at stardom.
Yeah,
It could be another
I
compilation, you
believe
never
the
know.
Def Leppard cover compilation would be better off without me on there.
Yeah, we'll find, maybe next time we'll find out.
Yeah.
Anybody get anything? I haven't gotten anything. The only thing I got was this cool shirt, Mega Man, and I got 2 Severed Angel shirts. One was wrong, and that's about it.
What Severed Angel? What is that? Is that the band
Oh!
that you guys talked about last
Yeah,
week?
Severed
what,
Angel,
what
it's,
is that,
What?
guys?
What
Tell
a-
you
me
guys
about
have
it.
what
like
an
you guys,
amazing
have,
question
stuff
you
going on? Yeah,
posed.
you have like a YouTube, video.
Yeah, I've
out
never
or
heard of
something?
these. Who are
Yeah,
these
who is
guys?
this fucking band you talking about?
It is a
Yeah.
YouTube. If anybody wants to go to Severed Angel Band on anything, I think it's Facebook. I know it's Instagram. Twitter is severed underscore angel underscore, and TikTok is Severed Angel Band. So if you look up Severed Angel Band, you'll find it somewhere. And that is
What about
my-
if you guys leave a link after the show's over?
Yes, I've been.
You know,
I'll put
that might
link
be a
in the
good
description.
idea. You know,
Yeah.
it might be something awesome to listen to. I did find out that
Well, you can't listen to it yet.
other bands are coming out with some new music. I know Gorillaz is coming out with a new album pretty soon.
Oh, that's cool. I like
Oh,
Gorillas.
that's great. So anyway, that's my
Wayne,
my band, and Lou's in there as well. He plays the guitar.
what do you
mixed
mean
up
your
most of the-
band? Our band.
Well, I didn't know how to say that correctly, so I said my band and Lou's band. And who else is in the band with us? George
Alex
Dimitri from Timeless Haunt,
Well,
and
formerly
Alex,
of Timeless Haunt.
Formerly
Yes.
of Timeless Haunt.
Alex Rapetti, and what's that other guy?
Mark Mushnick.
Mark
Muchnick.
Mushnick. He's on keyboards, and yes, we're all pretty cool people, and we play some
Well,
pretty cool
I
music.
don't know. The drummer sounds like an ass.
Yeah, Wayne Mustaine has got traditions. That's for sure.
Wayne Ulrich over
No,
there.
no, this band is really cool. I've been getting a lot of people saying how much they like this new music, so I'm really excited to hear
And I
people
hate
that I
to
don't
brag.
know's opinions.
I hate to brag though, but thank you for everyone for giving me the most views on the Severed Angel YouTube page. Thank you. I know I'm too sexy.
Really, you got the most views?
That's right. You ain't
It's
got
his
jack
boyish
shit.
good. It's his boyish Greek good looks right there. You know.
That's right. Hellenic God right here. Fuck
fix
GGP.
that.
I'm putting myself over.
You know, you probably watched it yourself about 100 times.
I did. Anyway.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
But yeah, no. So actually, this Friday is the debut of our cover song from the band Ghost. It's going to be the song Square Hammer. So Friday at 12:30
I love that
p.m. I
song.
figured. So do I. That's why I suggested the cover.
That is a great song.
Good choice.
It is a good song.
Yeah, good choice.
But yeah, it's going to be at 12:30. I picked 12:30 because I figure it's lunchtime. Everybody's on their lunch break, and it'll be on YouTube, and it'll be on there, so everybody can watch it, and it'll be cool.
And we're about 96% away from completion.
Yeah.
So
I just finished the
Well,
last
you
song
know,
today,
Lou,
so
I hate to put this burden on you, but I'm hoping for a better guitar solo from the Square Hammer guitar solo than what the Faceless School did.
You know, you're not the first person that told me that they were not keen on the guitar solo on the original track.
I'm not. It's not that I'm not keen on it. I just think someone could do it better. Someone that has the fingers of a Greek god.
Exactly.
Who has
exactly.
Well,
Directly from the voice of God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Call me Zeus, bitches.
Well, I'm proud to say I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised and very happy with it. I'm not going to boast. It's not just me doing the solo. Me and Alex actually split it. However, there is one part of the song that we kept in because the one part of the solo that we kept in because we thought it was just awesome. So we're not going to spoil it, but you're going to hear it and go, yeah.
Cool.
I don't even know what that part is.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, so you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Is it? It's in the solo?
Yes, I just
Not
said that like 3
drum
times.
solo.
Okay.
Not the drum solo.
Thanks.
Wayne.
Yeah. Thanks for freaking listening there,
Well,
Wayne.
they edited out the drum solo. I
Wayne
don't know
listens
why.
to the
It's kinda
voices in
silly.
his head and no one else's.
You know what? I was looking at all the views you got. So
Yeah.
so
Who
distracted.
needs a tick track when he has his own freaking voice in his head?
A
Right?
what? A tick track?
Yeah.
All right, you want to get started, Wayne?
I'll get started. Today, what are you pulling down? What do you got?
Oh, you got stuff? Go ahead.
Oh, look at that. That album's very
It's-
rare, apparently.
Yeah, I know. I had to get my copy off Discogs.
I still have
So
my original from 1997. Anyway, Wayne, do your thing.
this is the original from 1997. I actually found a CMC International 97 print. So
Did it
this
get
is the
reissued after that? I guess we'll talk about it.
No,
I didn't
never
think
got
so.
reissued.
Did
Ever.
not get reissued because that record company went out of business like 2009.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
didn't they include vinyl copy in that huge box set or a CD copy in that box set they put out last year? Anyway, we'll talk about it.
No, they did not.
No?
It's only the Rob Halford piece.
They didn't
print.
put
don't-
I thought they included. All right. Well,
I'm
They,
pretty
they,
sure
put,
they
they,
did not.
they so what I've read is they actually that one and the next one are the only two albums that they really don't talk about. They're not in any box sets. They don't even play them still live, even though Rob Halford says he's open to doing it. They
Live.
don't do which is probably a lie.
that's not
That's bullshit.
that's
Actually,
like saying, yeah.
2 songs off this album are represented on Mythology,
Right.
and 2 songs off Demolition. The 2 songs off this album that are recognized are the title track Jugulator and Bloodstained. So tracks 1 and 2.
Christ. Anyway,
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
tonight we are doing our Judas Priest Jugulator and Iron Maiden's X Factor. So both albums have brand new singers, and so this is going to be very interesting. We'll start with Jugulator first, since you just showed that album. Jugulator is the 13th studio album released October 1997. It was their first studio album with American lead vocalist Tim Ripper Owens. The lyrics dealt with harsher themes than previous releases, including the eponymous mechanized demon, which disembowels its prey, and the end of the world in the song Cathedral Spires. The guitars were also tuned down, and they made a shift to a more thrash metal-oriented sound. This is the first studio album of Judas Priest that I actually bought. I know it took me a long time to buy a Judas Priest album. Why? I was just in a music store that day. I think it was released not too long before I went to that store.
Well, there's also a 7-year gap between original albums.
Right, that too. But I was also like, I had to hear what Judas Priest sounded like now with somebody else behind, the vocals, so
yeah.
I was kind of interested. So I grabbed it. So I thought it was good. I thought Tim Ripper Owens could do similar things to what Halford does, but he also added some of that grittier vocal style, some kind of like those growling. I don't know what you call that other like darker vocals that he does, but
He's got a growl. He's got a growl.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't call it like a
not-
death metal
more
growl,
it's
but-
more growly. It's just more guttural sounding than
Right,
what Rob.
yeah,
Rob could do.
his. I'll get to Ripper when we discuss the album. Go ahead.
All right. The music itself is entirely different. I thought. I don't know if they were just if they just weren't memorable, but after listening to his album, there's not really one guitar solo on this whole thing. This was also the thing to do around this time. There were a couple melody things here and there, but nothing that stands out with a flashy guitar solo like all the older albums. And I don't think this album is terrible, but it lacks what made Judas Priest Judas Priest. Instead of being the leaders, they were trying to jump on a trend, but this time I think was already kind of fading out. And I'm not going to go to specific details through every song because every song kind of seems similar to each other. But the standout tracks for me are Bloodstained, Dead Meat, Burn in Hell, Abductors, Bullet Train, and my favorite song on the album, Cathedral Spires, because I think that's probably has the most melodic parts in the whole album. The rest is just an all-out pound your face assault musically. It's the heaviest album they've ever done, and that I honestly don't think they should have done. But I guess where do you go after Painkiller without your singer that's been with you since the first album? So I appreciate the effort. I like and like I said, it's a good album. I wouldn't tell anyone not to listen to it, but if you're looking for a genuine Priest album, this isn't it. Manny.
I think the album's shitty. Let's start with that.
See, I don't think it's shitty.
How do you really feel?
Yeah, geez,
I think the songwriting. Let's see. I bought it when it came out because I wanted to hear what somebody would sound like that wasn't Rob Halford. As far as Ripper Owens' performance, I don't have a problem with it. He can sing, he can do what he was hired to do, and he also added his own identity. And it's interesting that Judas Priest and Iron Maiden both have new singers. Judas Priest got someone who can do justice to the old material and bring in his own style. Iron Maiden, when we get to it, brought someone who can sing, but they didn't adapt to the way they didn't adapt to the style Blaze Bayley could have brought his own style in. Anyway, Jugulator, I think the lyrics are terrible, juvenile. I'm not saying every Judas Priest album, you're going to confuse them with Dylan Thomas lyrics of heavy metal, but Bloodstained.
It's very primitive lyrics. It's just very basic.
They're not writing Hamlet here.
No,
it's not Shakespeare.
No, they're not. They're barely writing The Electric Company or Sesame Street, let alone Hamlet. I mean,
hey, you guys. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Sloth loves Chunk. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I Goonies took that from Electric Company. That was Rita Moreno that originated.
Oh yeah,
I know it was. However, I hear that and I hear Goonies because
I hear too.
I'll take Rita Moreno over Chunk any day.
It kind of kills me because I'm a huge Judas Priest fan. I think the performances are good, if that makes sense, but the songwriting is lacking. I think they just went to go heavy for the sake of being heavy. I think they chucked out melody. I think they chucked out anything memorable. Cathedral Spirals is a great song. I'll give you that. The title track is good despite the ridiculous lyrics. Again, they've had character songs. Painkiller is a character, the Sentinel is a character. Nothing wrong with that, but this didn't make it seem like Marvel Comics. It made it seem like Archie Comics. It just was not.
You leave Jughead out of this.
Do you mean it was too cartoony for its own good?
Absolutely it was. It was. Yeah. And again, everyone blames Ripper Owens for this album, and I think he's the standout performer on this album. Actually, I shouldn't have said it's shitty. It's okay. If it was anyone's name but Judas Priest, I'd probably praise it. But Judas Priest, I expect more. We criticized Turbo, but I really like Turbo. Even Ram It Down as bad as it was.
Those still sound like Judas Priest.
Right, and it's memorable. Right. But this, it's like you said, they were chasing a trend. It didn't feel true to their spirit. If you listen to the live album they put out with Ripper Owens or Tim Owens, it's excellent. You could tell these guys still had it. And those songs sound better live. So maybe they just needed to be seasoned. But overall, I feel the album is a disappointment. And though I do think they should put it back in print because I think their legacy, just for their legacy sake, it should be available for fans. Other than that, I don't recommend it.
Lou.
I'm going to let James go first.
James.
All right. Well, I'm gonna blow everybody's mind. I like this album.
Go ahead.
I want to hear it.
I love this sound. Okay, now granted, I will admit this. I am a new metal fan. I grew up when new
Right,
metal started. That was
right.
when I started. So for me, hearing this, hearing like I said, Cathedral Spires sounds like a Pantera song. Sounds a lot
Mhm.
like Cemetery Gates to me.
Yeah.
Jugulator sounds a lot like Slayer. And 4, 5, and 6, Death Row, Decapitate, Burn in Hell, Brain Dead, all sound new metal to me. And you know what? I'm down with that. I could dig that. I think it's a little bit more intricate than what everyone's saying. I don't think they chucked out the melody. They just made the melody different and they put it in there in between the more chugging sounds of the bass and the guitar. Ripper Owens, yes, the lyrics aren't my favorite thing in the world. They are not Shakespeare. It is very much basic, bare bones, stereotype metal sounding lyrics, which aren't great. They're pretty shitty. But the sound and everything, I absolutely loved it. I actually really enjoyed it, and actually had to go back finish the X Factor before this so that I could actually be on a happy note because, like I said, I enjoyed the music. I wish I could have it on Amazon because I'd actually put a couple of the songs on there just because I like the thrash and the lot heavier sound because I thought it was a little bit too, not trying to be mean, but I thought it was a little too light in the pants the last few albums. I felt like the sound wasn't there.
James, do you think it's because you're a new metal fan and you didn't? I'm a lot older than you. Do you think that's why it
Yes.
resonated with you, where it didn't resonate with me?
Yes. I feel like, I mean, if you want to hear really bad lyrics, go listen to Coal Chamber. If you really think this is bad lyrics, go listen to them first and then get back with me. Go listen to some Limp Bizkit first before you come back with me with this stuff. I mean,
I'll agree with that.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
so for me, I feel like, yes, if this wasn't Judas Priest and everyone didn't have their preconceived notions that this is not British Steel, this is not freaking Painkiller, this is not that Judas Priest. This is a different Judas Priest, and I think I enjoy it a lot better.
Ripper Owens vocals, because I know you respect Rob Halford as a singer, but I know that kind of high singing is not your thing. What do you think of Tim Owens' performance on here?
I thought it was good. I mean, I think some of the high pitched falsettos were a little forced in some of the parts, but I felt like they fit a little bit better in line with like how Painkiller's falsettos were than I did before that. I felt like sometimes they were forced. There were a lot of times they were really forced in the other ones. This one was a little bit more subtle about it.
And this is why I love having you on the show, because you give me a different perspective than my perspective. I'm looking at it from a middle-aged guy's performance.
Like the classic area, and he's looking from it from like the newer era.
I'm thinking of it when I came of age listening to this stuff in 90s, in 96, in 97, and 98, when in 99 when I really got into it when I was a freshman in high school. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from this as a kid. Remember being 15 and being pissed off at the world and hearing this and be like, fuck yeah, let's rage out.
Do you think this would have fit in as a kid? This would have been something you would have picked up if you somehow heard it as a kid? Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I have to remember the first album of quote unquote heavy metal I listened to was the Metallica Black album.
Okay.
So for that was my gateway drug into metal, I like to call it. So for me, hearing something like this, I would have bought it.
Like I said, this is why I love having you on the show, James, because your perspective is so different than mine. I find it interesting and refreshing. So I think that's great.
Yeah, cool. Lou.
Unpopular opinion. This is my 6th favorite Judas Priest record. I can find myself sort of like that gateway between how Manny feels about classic Priest, but also how James feels about what was popular at the time that he was a teenager, because when I was a teenager, 1993 to 2000, my generation kind of bridged that gap between like the classic metal to new metal, into melodic Swedish death metal, into new wave of American heavy metal, to what you have now. I wouldn't say that I was a fan of most new metal bands. Like I'll admit I was not a Cold Chamber fan, but the bands that kind of fell into that category, like Korn, Deftones, Piston, or when they signed to a major label, Piston, even bands that weren't new metal at the time, but, still kind of got lumped in, like Typo Negative and Fear Factory. Even Pantera, they get lumped in that category, which I think is completely unfair. I was a fan of that stuff. You got to keep in mind one thing. When Halford left in 92, a year later, he came out with Fight. So, and the year that he quit, he was on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer soundtrack with Pantera doing Light Comes Out of Black. Mm-hmm. So here's, Rob embracing, the metal of the 90s, and then Fight comes out and it's like, where the hell did that come from? I'm a huge fan of War of Words. I think that's one of the best releases Halford's ever done. But, what did Priest really have to show for it between Painkiller's release till this? They had Metalworks, which was a double disc compilation CD. And then in 96, Century Media released a tribute album to them with Merciful Fate, Halloween, and a bunch of other bands. So here you have all these bands that came in Judas Priest's wake who were incredibly influenced by Priest, and the influence is painstakingly obvious. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I mean, it's obvious that these bands are influenced by Priest. But other than that, where's the love for Priest? How come no one was telling them, hey, get a singer, let's go on tour together? At one point, Ralph Sheepers of Gamma Ray, who went on to form Primal Fear, was up for the role, but got passed over for Ripper Owens when Scott Travis actually found a video of him playing in a Judas Priest tribute, gave it to Glenn and KK and said, we should try this guy out. Personally, I think Ralph Sheepers with Judas Priest would have been great, but I can tell you this wouldn't have happened. No. If Ralph was in the band. It probably, if anything, would have been not a continuation of Painkiller. It probably would have been a combination of like Screaming for Vengeance meets Gamma Ray. So would that have been Priest? Probably not.
Cool.
James, Harry Barnett wants to know why you look like me, like you're impersonating me.
That's because I'm a balding 38-year-old man, and also I'm in the military, so I had to get a close haircut for tomorrow.
Continue, Lou.
Tell Greg he can sign on because he's just got off the phone with us.
Yeah, tell him to sign on.
Yes. Anyways, so so back to what I was saying. So Priest was like, hey, like all these bands, our genres kind of moved away from us. So to me, what Jugulator really is a big middle finger to everybody who doubted them, saying, oh, you're the new blood and you think you could do what we started? We can do it better. As far as I'm concerned, Jugulator, it's one of the best things that they've ever done. I think the lyrics are juvenile. Yeah, I'll admit that. But Ripper's performance is killer, number one. And number two, the attitude of these songs, it's pummeling. And at the time where it's like, you're hearing a bunch of new metal bands, forgive me, James, but a lot of them, complaining about mommy and daddy issues. It's kind of
just say Korn right at the top of the bat. I mean, come on,
Korn. It's kind of nice to hear a song about wanting to beat the living shit out of somebody and killing them. So when I heard Jugulator, I was like, thank you. But there's one culprit that I think is really responsible for Priest going this direction. And that culprit is Pantera. If it wasn't for Pantera, because Pantera was the biggest metal act of the 90s, I'm not talking Metallica. I mean, Metallica has transcended metal. They've transcended into hard rock for all we know. It's like they've transcended past thrash and metal. I mean, the fact that alternative radio still plays them, And that goes to show you Metallica's influence.
Alternative radio, classic rock plays the hell out of them.
Yeah,
now.
classic rock.
There you
plays the hell
go.
out of them, yeah.
There you go. So Pantera really were the front runners for the metal band of the 90s. So of course Priest is going to go out of their way to be like, all right, we're going to chase this and we're going to do it better than you guys. I think it's tragic that they went from headlining arenas to playing Roseland Ballroom, which fits 2,000 people, Irving Plaza, which fits 1,000 people, Hammerstein, which fits 2,500. You know, and I mentioned to you guys that in 2002 they played the Bald Hill Amphitheater out in Suffolk County to 5,000 people with LA Guns, Rat, and Dokken. You know, which unfortunately shows the decline of opportunity that Priest was getting. But Jesus, it kills me that this album is so overlooked by everyone. And it makes me happy as a Priest fan to know that some, if not most of us, still stood by them during this period. I personally don't think there's one bad song. I would say my favorite song, I mean, I'm attached to it, is Jugulator. I wouldn't have had Burn in Hell released as the first single. I think Bloodstained. Yeah, Bloodstained should have been a better single because the groove of that song, the rhythm of that song, I mean, come on. If you needed someone to like out Sepultura's Roots, Bloody Roots, that would have been the song, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I really do find quality on this record, and I stand by that.
Yeah, there really is not a bad song on the album. It's a good album, but
There is, yeah.
it's just not classic Priest.
My problem again is lyrics and Bloodstain. That is a perfect example of the lyrics that I hate about the album.
Mhm.
You know, it is just
The lyrics don't bother me too much.
The performance of
well,
those lyrics, I think Ripper performed with conviction.
I
And that's
don't
what won
take
me
that
over.
away from him. I won't take that away from him. And I wasn't a lot, you know, I was only in my 20s in the 90s, but a lot of my friends, well, they were idiots, so who cares? You know, they like, you know, decided they're going to stay here. They don't like grunge, they don't like new metal. I like the Deftones, I like Korn, I like Shadows Fall. So I did like that stuff. And
So
I
did I.
understand.
Oh, a third person who talks about Shadows Fall on this show.
I like them. I'm not going to.
So you haven't heard this, Manny. They were the opening act of Ozfest 03 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
At 9:00 in the morning.
Oh my God.
And I freaking was loving every minute of it because like me and like 30 other people knew who this band was and was excited for it. I'd watched their video Fixation on the Darkness on MTV2 like 2 weeks
That's
beforehand.
Killswitch Engage.
Oh no,
sir.
no, sorry. Oh God, what was the Shadows Falls thing? Shit. Sorry, I got them mixed up. I apologize for not getting the
It's okay.
title
I like
right.
Kill Switch Engage too. So they're good
everyone
too.
likes Kill Switch Engage too.
Yeah.
Oh
I'll
God, what
tell you.
was it?
I'll tell you real quick. Oh man, I hate fact checking during the show.
Yeah, sorry. I
Well,
fucked up.
continue,
Sorry, I
James.
fucked it up.
Stepping
But yeah.
outside the circle? Was it stepping outside the circle?
It could have been. Hold on. Yeah. I just remember them being like out there and they were kicking ass and nobody could give a shit less. And I was just like, fuck, I wish you guys were, everyone was out there just freaking going shit on it. Destroyer of Senses.
That's what it was. Okay.
Oh, great song.
You know what?
Sorry,
though?
I got mixed up. They're really close to each other.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're both killer bands. And you know what? I loved seeing both of those bands on the way up.
You at
And
least
when
got
they
to see
made it,
them.
I was happy for them.
You
I
just got
mean,
to see Kill Switch.
what
And
about
they were-
Killswitch?
I didn't
got
get to
to
see
s-
Kill Switch.
I got
Oh,
to see him with
I got to
Howard
see E-Town
Jones.
Concrete.
I like
I got to
E-Town.
see him with the second singer, Howard Jones. Is that his
Yeah.
name? Yeah,
I like
Yeah.
both singers. I love.
I
that
do
they did
too.
the-
Actually,
I like how they did Worlds Collide. I thought that was great.
No, that was killer. But yeah, I've kept the album because I keep everything like Wayne. I don't. I throw it on every blue moon, but I don't. I definitely don't love it, and it's definitely in the bottom tier for me of Judas Priest albums.
I know it's in the upper tier for me. And actually, I think when next time I'm working out, I wish I had this on like Amazon Music or something like that because I would be blasting the hell out of this while doing a lifting session.
When I wish
You go
Amazon Music
so
would put it
brutal.
out, so because Hey, Owen should get some royalty. Well, I guess he doesn't get any because he's a hired gun.
I was reading a thing. He wants to re-record this album and the next one. Re-record it for
Well,
himself.
the next one could use some re-recording because the next one is complete shit. And I'll say nothing nice about that one, but
we're not there yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he would still get performance royalties if the album was still in print.
Yeah,
I wonder why it's not in print. It didn't sell
because
that
of the
bad.
record label.
The record labels that
gone.
went under.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but
so here's the thing.
Don't
So
they own the master tapes? I'm sure. But anyway, go ahead.
but here's so CMC Records ended up becoming Metal Is Records, which at one point had Halford, and then Metal Is was bought up by Sanctuary. I think Sanctuary may have been bought up by Universal, and
Oh, and you were thinking those tapes are destroyed in a fire.
you got it.
Yeah. That's criminal. I don't even want to talk about
Somehow
it.
though, Iommi still has the master tapes for the IRS Tony Martin era, so that's great because I'm waiting to hear a updated version of Headless Cross. Hopefully he'll come
Well,
out soon.
that could be problematic because even though he at the time owned the Black Sabbath name to reunite with Ozzy, I think he gave up rights. So I don't know how that's going to work.
It's 50-50 him and Ozzy, so we'll see.
How's
And,
it 50
and Ozzy's
50
not
Ozzy?
doing too well. at
Ozzy
the
didn't
moment.
fucking write a goddamn song. All right, forget it. We'll drop.
That's a topic for a different episode. Anyway.
Murphyful Fate. Don't like
Hey, Murph.
Deftones. Don't like Shadows Fall. Don't like Kill Switch. No offense. Just didn't get into new metal.
None taken.
None taken.
Whatever floats your boat.
No. So just for funsies.
Yeah. I don't like Deftones either, but I do like Shadows Fall.
Well, I love.
I'm sorry you don't like horny new metal. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just could never get into them.
Well, that was that's like one of the shortest lived genres in history, but
New metal, it's still going down. What the hell?
Well,
are you talking
Slipknot,
about?
yeah, but I'm telling you,
No,
yes,
freaking
Korn.
Godsmack keeps bringing out albums. Korn still
I
dropping.
consider
They're done. Hopefully
Godsmack
they're
Just
done.
dropped
more
a
of
new
a-
album.
I consider Godsmack more of a grunge influence in new metal, but I guess they were considered new metal, huh?
Well, a lot of bands.
Disturbed has a new album.
A lot of bands
Death Punch to be
that
considered
are
one.
new today are influenced by that era, but
Well,
they're
that makes
also influenced by
sense.
like all era of the genre. So I have to admit, I'm really beginning to despise the subgenres. It's like
I am too.
only douche nozzle gatekeepers care about that shit. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't even like the term heavy metal anymore because it doesn't mean anything, But
Murphy said, sorry, I just showed up. What records are we talking about? Kill Switch Engage versus Shadows Fall today.
Oh Jesus!
Jugulator.
No, we're talking about Round Earth versus Flat Earth. I can't believe Steph Carpenter is a flat earther, but I mean, whatever.
Jugulator versus X Factor, but
Slipknot #4 album versus.
I still get
versus Tom Jones's The Lead and How to Swing It. Anyway,
Friggin' was it October Typo Negative October Rust versus.
I still get a lot of shit for liking Slipknot and having Barbara Streisand and having Iron Maiden and Judas Priest in my collection. I don't give a shit.
One of these days, Manny, I'm gonna have to show you my freaking playlist, and it's gonna bake your brain.
Oh, all that.
Deicide versus Aqua, Barbie Girl versus Once Upon the Cross. Anyways,
Whoa. Yeah, no. We're Lit might Be My Sunshine is gonna be on that list as well.
Oh, I tang
they
myself.
sampled that from a
Anyway.
porn star.
You're damn right they did.
Okay,
Yeah, they
you're aware
did.
of that.
Andra True. Yep.
Yes, the Andrea True connection.
Yeah, and the only connection she has is nothing because she's dead. Anyway, go
Anyway,
on.
Wow.
But anyway,
But yes,
brutal,
we're doing
brutal.
doing Judas Priest Jugulator versus Iron Maiden's X Factor. And we just did Judas Priest. So now we're going to do Iron Maiden. And where's Greg? I thought he was
is
coming
Greg
on.
coming on?
no,
I guess not.
All right.
He's probably calming down.
This is his
Fired.
fucking
This
idea.
is his idea,
Yeah.
and yet
Now-
I'm here having to suck through this, and yeah, he's freaking. Oh, these albums are gonna suck. You're gonna hate
One-
these fucking albums.
one thing I
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
like,
say.
I love this shit. Bring more of this on.
One thing I want to say, if Eric Adams is watching this, if you call us murderous, blaspheming bastards for our opinions on this episode in particular, fuck you. Anyway.
Wow, Lou actually coming out with the big guns on there.
Yeah.
Call him what he is. An Iron
All right.
Maiden mark.
He really is a Maiden, Mark.
Nothing wrong with that. Iron Maiden, The X Factor is the 10th studio album released October 1995.
Oh, is that the significance of X? Because X is a Roman numeral for 10. Wow, original marketing.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So 1990s.
Andrew Peters, I'd rather listen to Tim Owens than Blaze Bayley. Okay.
You and everybody
All
else.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, you know, I feel like Blaze Bayley gets a lot of shit because they're making him do shit that he is not able to do.
No.
Well, let
And-
Wayne
and
talk
we're-
about the rundown.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that, James, because that's a good point. But anyway, go ahead, Wayne.
It is the first of 2 albums by the band to include Blaze Bayley, formerly of Wolfsbane, as vocalist replacing Bruce Dickinson, who left the band following their previous tour to pursue a solo career. It also saw the departure of the band's longtime producer, Martin Birch, who retired shortly after the release of the previous album. The album takes a darker tone than the band's first 9 releases due to the lyrics being based on personal issues surrounding Steve Harris's, at the time, who was in the midst of a divorce. This is reflected in the cover artwork as well, which graphically depicts the band's mascot Eddie being vivisected. This is the first time I've ever heard that word, by a machine.
Vivisection is being torn apart while you're still alive.
Obviously.
Okay.
That's,
In case no one else
the
knows.
name and that's the
I'm
name
just
of a extreme metal band that by
Oh,
the
damn.
way. So you can't
Okay.
use that name, Wayne,
I
for your
can't-
next project. No, now
Oh, good,
continue.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, that was Severed Angel was going to be called Vivisected, but
I know.
Well, we
Thank
realized we
God.
wrote songs longer than 5 seconds. Anyways, continue.
yeah. The cover art depicted Eddie undergoing another lobotomy. Was created by Hugh Sim or Syme.
Hugh Syme. Yeah.
Time, yeah.
Due to the cover's lifelike style, the band were forced to release the album in the reversible sleeve. Did you ever see that? That's retarded with the back.
Yeah,
That's the front.
that's the one I've got on CD. Yeah.
The
Really?
one that
Oh,
I
that's
had
weird.
was the close up, not the not the distant shot.
I have the distance shot. Is it CMC also, Lou?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it should be.
All right, go ahead, continue, Wayne.
Now this album, all right, this is me talking about the album. Now this album, I was really looking forward to hearing. I remember when it was being released, and I think it was maybe Headbangers Ball or some kind of MTV show. They were having like a record release party or something for it. There were people giving like interviews, and some people said that the new vocalist reminded them of David Lee Roth.
What?
Exactly.
Case of lunch, Adam, that on the edge.
I always remember them saying that because
David Lee
quote the
Roth?
great Talladega
yeah,
Nights.
I can
That's
understand that, like coming from Wolfsbane, because maybe he kind of did have that like David Lee Roth type thing to him, you know, because Wolfsbane was like a kind of like a party band.
Yeah, and they were. I bought their live album, and he's great getting the crowd going. But
Right.
it's definitely different than David Lee Roth. I
It
love
is
David
yeah,
Lee
they're
Roth.
very different. So I don't know
Yeah,
where they
I mean,
got that comparison from, but I always remember that because I'm like, how the hell's David Lee Roth going to fit with Iron Maiden? You know, that doesn't make sense to me.
Completely impossible.
Completely impossible. But you know, after I got the album figured out, he does not sound like David Lee Roth whatsoever.
Nope.
But I remember seeing with the Man on the Edge, and I really liked that song. And when I finally got the album, it's really good. I found out Blaze absolutely. I already said that. Which in a way I think is good that he doesn't sound like David Lee Roth. What the hell? I gotta just fuck myself up here. All right, here we go.
Let's get the David Lee Roth narrative out of the equation.
I'm trying to get there. Blaze's voice.
Gary
fit with-
Sharon. Sorry.
What was that Def Leppard tribute that we're on? We have 9 people watching. Let me stop right now. When we started this show, we have a contest that's going on. The 1,000th subscriber of this show will get a copy of this CD right here. It's called Let's Get Rocked, a tribute to Def Leppard. Me and Lou are actually on this. Remember
Number
the
12.
Number 12. We did a cover of the song On Through the Night. So we're on that compilation. So whoever is going to be the 1,000th subscriber will get a copy of that CD. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe now.
Make fake YouTube pages and just click subscribe. That's the quickest way to do it. Form your own bots. It's okay.
That works for me.
Man,
Just
as long as
we
you
know
get
who you
as
are.
long as you get the CD and it's signed by Lou and Wayne, because me and Manny are not going to be on that signing.
No,
it's
neither
because
one
we
of
didn't
them
have a
can say.
karaoke machine to do our.
Yeah,
our
we didn't have
song.
a
You didn't
karaoke
audition for
machine.
Vinnie Vincent either, so good on you for that.
I'm skipping whatever else I wrote. The opening track is Sign of the Cross. Blew me away right from the start. I like the chanting, and when the music kicks in, I was kind of blown away by the sound of the band. They sounded huge. I could hear all of Nico's drums, which on the previous albums are kind of like hidden a little bit, especially the kick drum. And Steve's bass was even more up front than usual, but it sounded really massive. I loved all the time changes in the middle of the song, and the guitar solos and are still sounding like Iron Maiden. So I was very impressed with Sign of the Cross, so much that it's one of my favorite Maiden tracks, if not my favorite.
Oh.
Then we get to Lord of the Flies. This one's a bit more upbeat, and again, they're trying something new with the guitars, which I like. Man on the Edge wasn't crazy about this chorus because it just repeats over and over again,
as most of them do on this album. I'm sorry,
most of them
it's
do,
true.
and this is the album where it starts to get more of a common thing with them. So, but it works. I do like it, and it actually made me find out what the hell Falling Down meant. I didn't know it was about a movie. So, and I actually got to watch
Michael
that
Douglas movie. You never saw it?
Yeah.
I did after I heard the song. It's a very good movie, by the way.
Yeah, I love it.
Fortunes of War, decent song. I like the intro and that repeating melody. Look for the Truth, another decent song. It's a bit sloppy, but it has its moments. The Aftermath, my second favorite song on the album. Like the whole album, it just sounds massive, and I really like the chorus. Judgment of Heaven, decent song. Blood on the World's Hands, another song I really like. I like the beginning, but I could never figure out what's that, an acoustic guitar or is that a bass? Do you know what that is?
It's an acoustic bass.
It's acoustic bass.
It's both.
Because
it's a little bit of both.
Because when they played it live, I saw some bootleg concerts of the X Factor, as they called it. And yeah, Steve actually played that intro on an acoustic bass. So
okay, very cool. So I like the guitar melodies and how the vocals follow them in the verses. I like Nico's drum work as well on this. The Edge of Darkness, I think vocally this is the strongest Blaze sings on this album for some reason. Maybe it's like one of the last songs they recorded and he felt more comfortable with their band. I have no idea, but it's a great song. 2 a.m., another good song. I think lyrically this is more personally about Steve, because you can just tell like he's on his own again and all that stuff. So really good song. And The Unbeliever, a decent album ender with a catchy chorus. Let's go to James. Let's do James.
So I liked it more than I do other Priest albums or Maiden albums because, well, it sounds way better, I think. I also think that they got rid of a lot of the controversy that made Iron Maiden. I don't hate the lead singer's voice in this. I think he sounds really good. For the most part, I feel like a lot of it's forced. It still has the same sins of old Iron Maiden. I'm sorry, but falling down is not a chorus. Repeating the words falling down is not a chorus. Repeating falling down is not a chorus. Repeating falling down is not a chorus.
Ooh, that's why you do not sing. Oof.
Exactly. It's rough, all right?
I thought Blaze was in the room.
He's not that bad.
Wow.
I genuinely like Blaze.
I think Blaze was I feel like they forced Blaze to do Dickinson and not let him do his own thing, which probably led to why the issues of why he had to leave the band at the end of the second album. Also with Dickinson being back in the band, but hey, regardless, I just feel like it's better. It has some of the good things. It also has some of the sins where they really start really slow in a lot of the songs. They start really slow, and you know how I feel about Iron Maiden and slow songs. We've well established my views.
May I, James?
Yeah.
No slow songs.
Thank you,
Baba.
Thank you. The Irish Chic #1 slow Iron Maiden songs. Akapui. So, other than that, I think it's a good album. It's not like one of those upper echelon Iron Maiden albums that has like all the memorable songs, but I don't think it's a bad one. So I think it's mid road.
Yeah, it just seems it's just like they wrote this album without a vocalist in mind, and then when they finally found somebody, they just like threw him in there, you know, and just like do your best, Manny.
Yeah,
I have to agree with James about the and here's the vinyl version of it. No, yeah, which is cool.
That's what the CD I had looked like. It was that cover. That was a close-up one.
Yeah, the one I had
Had the back on it where he's sitting
Yeah,
in
well,
the
the
electric
back,
chair.
see, this one doesn't have, because mine
Oh,
had
so you
the,
got that one. You got the
yeah, the CD had a Eddie and a
Yeah,
damn
electric chair, right?
yeah, and my CD was a little different, had a faraway shot, not that
Yeah,
close up.
look like
I would
that.
show it to you, but it's in storage over here. Um,
That's what it looked like. That.
when I first heard the album, I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. The production sounded really dry to me. Blaze's voice was so different than Bruce Dickinson that it took me a while. Um, and that's the interesting about change of vocalists. Judas Priest, Tim Owens. They got somebody who can sing the Rob Halford material perfectly. They were thinking ahead. AC/DC, Brian Johnson. He's no Bon Scott, but he can do the Bon Scott song justice. Even Van Halen. Actually, I don't think Sammy Hagar could sing a
No.
David Roth song, but he's capable of doing it. Just it would sound different. Or you can go the route that Iron Maiden did. Blaze is so different than Bruce Dickinson or Black Sabbath. Ozzy and Dio have nothing in common vocally. It's interesting on that. Oh, overall, as I kept listening to the album, I really like it a lot. I think lyrically is the complete opposite of the Judas Priest. Lyrically, is very intelligent album. It's also one of the first times that they get into more introspective about their personal lives on a few songs, which they don't do very often. I used to hate the production on it, but it works very well. Like Wayne said, that the drums just really sound really good on it. And Blaze is a great singer. The only thing I can think of the David Lee Roth comparison is if you listen to that Wolfsbang's live album, Blaze tries to get that audience going and tries to get them engaged. And that's the only thing I can think of. But overall, it's a good album. I mean, Lord of the Flies is even based on this book by classic by William Golding. So, as usual, they kept that tradition up. Overall, I think it's a good album. It's still in the lower tier for me of Iron Maiden albums, but I do enjoy it. And I think Blaze, like Ripper Owens, gets a lot of crap that he does not deserve for the direction of the album. And by the way, if Judas Priest and Iron Maiden had released the best albums of their career, I still think the albums would have sold poorly. It just was a time frame it was happening in. They weren't I think the only band that was selling at numbers they were what Van Halen and AC/DC, and they only put out albums sporadically. No, even
if we're talking
Van Halen 3, right? Was that Van Halen 3 in 97?
Van Halen 3 was 98, but if we're talking 95 when this album came out, Van Halen had Balance. AC/DC were just about to release Ball Breaker, but they had just reunited with Phil Rudd at that point, so there was high demand for what they were doing. Aerosmith was another big band.
That's another one.
Motley Crue by that point had tanked. That, I mean, as much as I love that album with Karabi,
I like it too, but
it took them nowhere. Yeah. So the what's called now the heritage rock metal bands, 95, it was really just and I guess if you want to lump them, Bon Jovi, I guess.
I'll throw Bon Jovi in there. Why not?
So Metallica, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Van Halen, and Aerosmith were probably the 5 leftover bands. I mean, Def Leppard did have their Vault's greatest hits at the time, which actually went platinum.
Yeah, that went platinum.
So they didn't really suffer.
Yeah, but other bands, Deep Purple, definitely suffered. I mean, they never gained their footing in this country again, like they did.
Well, in terms of record sales, no, but in terms of live, they still pack them. I mean, I just saw Deep Purple 4 years ago with Priest, and the people still pay to see them. And I thought Perpendicular was like one of their best records, which oddly enough was also released on CMC Records.
Wow.
So I'm just looking at this list. White Zombie, their last album, Astro Creep, was big at this time.
95, yeah.
I love that album personally, so I like White Zombie. What's your view on X Factor, Lou?
So I remember getting this record day of. I was so excited for it. I wasn't disappointed. But at the same time, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
Before I give my opinion on X Factor, why don't we let Greg talk about his opinions on Jugulator? And
I'll read some of the chat while he's getting himself ready there. Andrew Peter, oh, we already read that. Merciful Fate, oh, I will never disrespect Maiden or Priest, but X Factor is a low point. No Bruce, they did their best. Jugulator Priest was dealing with no Halford, so an A for effort. And Andrew Peters, Hugh Syme, or Sim, whatever I said.
Syme.
Made Rush covers, Grace Under Pressure, and Caress of Steel, etc.
He also did some Queen's Right covers too.
Oh, interesting.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
I'm glad you're on.
Wearing my favorite shirt.
Yep, little Strangers in the Night.
Oh, love UFO. We were talking about Wasted earlier today. You weren't, I don't think you were involved in that conversation, but
Don't care for them.
yeah, well, that was basically our take on it. Disappointing.
He likes
Anyway.
Fastway, not Wasted.
Yeah, Fastway was cool. Actually, Greg years ago told me to check out an album called Dog Eat Dog with Fastway, and it was pretty good. I don't know if Greg remembers that or not.
So Greg, I was about to talk about my opinion on X Factor, but I wanted you to talk about Jugulator and X Factor first, so I want to give the floor to you.
Well, fuck. I don't have my notes, but sure.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Well,
Good night, everybody.
Do you want Lou to continue while you get your notes?
I can't remember all the song. Well, it's not too hard with the Priest one because the song titles are basically the fucking chorus in every song.
That's
Fair enough.
But you know, it's funny because that's the first Judas Priest record I bought as a new release, and I really, really loved it when I was younger. I still like it now, but it was a lot more monotonous revisiting it than it was before. They almost seem like they're stuck in a loop a little bit where not necessarily it's the same riffs song for song, but by the middle of the album, when you get to Burn in Hell, it just gets a little tired.
Mhm.
But I really like the thrash sound of it. The guitars, shortened guitar solos and all that were a little disappointing though. And it,
All right.
what kind of goes into the monotony is it's very much the Glenn Tipton show on this album.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, not
It
that
still
they
is.
well, yeah. Not that they really did things like the way, you know, Murray and Smith did, where they were that unique of each other, but still, KK added some character that's missing largely here, and I think it hurts it a little bit, but it's good direction. Pretty heavy. Could have been better, but I like it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Try that in. Me and Greg like the same album at the same time.
Miracle.
It is a miracle.
Cathedral Spires is a great song too, by the way.
I think I hear the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but continue.
Yeah, the trumpets might be sounding.
I switched around. What do you think about X Factor? Or do you want to continue your story?
X
Lou,
Factor.
and go to Greg.
X Factor is really good, and it doesn't deserve all the shit it gets. Now, as a musical tone and theme wise, it's very Deersy, and it kind of stays like that. So even listening to it over the past couple of days, you know, when it gets to the middle after what's the fourth song on there, Wayne?
Oh God. Aftermath? Maybe?
Aftermath. Yeah. And once it gets past that, there's like 2 or 3 songs that are a little, but it really picks up towards the end of it. As much as I like Sign of the Cross, I don't think it was a good idea for an opener. I think they should have placed it right before 2 a.m. towards the end of the album. It would have helped it build to that better, I think, if they started with Man on the Edge and moved that later, which I love Man on the Edge. I think it's one of their best singles. That's one of the tracks where, too, I think Blaze sounds the best. Originally hearing this the first time, I still liked it because, you know, it was Iron Maiden and it was heavy, but it was weird hearing Blaze's vocals. However, they did a real good job on the albums, not so much live, but on the records of playing to his strengths. And I think he does really well here, although I won't lie, I do like the live versions with Bruce much better than the album versions, but I have to say that's not really because of Bruce Dickinson. It's because Adrian Smith is back in the band and adds much more to the songs than there is without him. And you can totally hear where they were going to go later on this. And some sections of it do get really proggy. And for the most part, it's cool. It's just missing that extra little something that Adrian provided. But for where they all were mentally at the time, especially Steve, it's a really good record and probably really the only good, true, unadulterated heavy metal album that came out in 1995. And by that, I mean like old school heavy metal, like Maiden, the new wave of British heavy metal, those type of acts, you know.
Those are some big words.
Yeah. There weren't, yeah, but there weren't,
You know
it's
why?
true though, there weren't very many classic heavy metal acts out there still pushing the sound at the time. And I mean, it's different, it's forward for them, but it's still a great record.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Merciful Fate release an album in 95 too?
No, not 95. But
Not 95.
No.
Gamma Ray, Land of the Free was released in 95. And I think
Time
Blind
of the Oath
Guard-
came out in 96. I know that.
And then I think Blind Guardian Imaginations came out in 95.
Possibly. So really Maiden was
So-
left, the only one left of the old guard.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, very interesting. Lou, do you want to continue your
Yeah. So for me, it was the first day of release, and I wasn't disappointed with it. Looking back, there's a lot of things about this album that I could say I really appreciate. The songwriting, when it's really good, it's really good. Standout tracks, Sign of the Cross, Lord of the Flies. I like Man on the Edge. Fortunes
great.
of War, I didn't care for. I just thought that my main problem with Blaze, and I think Blaze is a really good singer. If you listen to his solo stuff where he sings in his register, he nails it. When he performs Maiden songs live, he nails them. When he does the acoustic Maiden covers with Thomas Wiesen, I think that's how you pronounce his name, on classical guitar, he nails them. He sounds great. I think in Steve's, I think we could talk about it because it's publicized that he was going through a divorce at the time. And when you're going through something like that, a lot of emotions run through your head: anger, resentment, narcissism, things like that. And it's possible that him and Rod Smallwood were really putting their foot down and expected Blaze to live up to the expectations of Maiden, which is they play in standard tuning, and Steve writes the bulk of the material. That's just how it is. You can't shake a stick at that. Other standout tracks were the Aftermath. My favorite, I would have to say, is Judgment of Heaven. I do love that song. I know at the time I was battling with similar, emotions as well. And Blood on the World's Hands is another standout track. When Bruce sings these songs live, they sound great, especially in his register. My least favorite track, I'd have to say, The Unbeliever. I wasn't too crazy about that. The problem with this album is that it sort of begins the trend for Maiden where it's like, long intros, and then the song kicks in, and then it ends with the same long intro that it started with, or like a reprise. So this album definitely starts, in some Maiden fans' views, the downward spiral of Maiden following that formula. And it's Steve's band. What are you gonna do? It is what it is. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the dark horse in the Iron Maiden catalog. If there was one thing two things I wish I could change about it. One, I would have made the tuning in Blaze's register. And two, I would have beefed up the guitars a little bit. I just felt like the guitars were kind of weak. And that's no fault of Dave or Yannick. I think it was just the way it was produced. And, I mean, like I was listening to Where Eagles Dare earlier today, and I'm just like, God, it sounded so full, and the guitar sounds they just sound so crisp and so good. And then, you hear the guitars on this, and it's like, it kind of leaves much to be desired, but it doesn't take away from the greatness of the great songs on it. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I mean, the guitars didn't bother me too much. I liked how they sounded. I think they're very kind of like old school. Like they're not like too over the top with the crunchy guitar sound. Just kind of like got this mellow guitar thing. I liked it. I don't know.
I
I mean,
agree with Lou there. They are a little weak sounding, though. I mean, it's pleasant for the most part, but they should be more out in front on a lot of it.
That's why I think the live versions sound better too, because the guitars are more heavier for those.
Right. If they had captured the live tone on record, it would have made for a better recording.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have to agree with your assessment. I think the guitars aren't upfront enough. I also agree it is a sleeper record in the discography for sure. Every band has that, and this is definitely theirs. At least a band with a long career.
Yeah. One thing though that I have to really not vent, but I guess spit some fire at. When I watch the bootlegs of these concerts from the X Factor, I just get very frustrated with how fast they're playing them. And Blaze is really doing his damnedest to keep up with the lyrics, especially singing in a register that's not his. I just want to say, Nico, take some Ritalin. I wish I could have told him that at the time, but I can't. Wasn't there, so I'll leave it alone.
Pain was a hell of a drug.
Blaze,
yeah, really.
Again, I was listening to that Wolfsbane album yesterday. It was a live album called Live Injection Noise or whatever. It's over there somewhere, and it's
live in Annie's attic or something, isn't it?
I think it was recorded there. Anyway, it's a club gig, and it's really great because you can tell. Like at one point, he goes, "Come on, you bastards!" He's just really riling up the crowd, and he's really good at that. And Iron Maiden wasn't that kind of band. No, I didn't know anything about Wolfsbane when I bought X Factor. I didn't know anything about
I don't think a lot of people did, especially in the United States. Who the hell would know about that?
I didn't even know that they were on a Rick Rubin's label or that Rick Rubin produced them. I had no idea. I mean, this stuff, I didn't know anything about Blaze until like a couple of, until he joined the band. And I go, who's Wolfsbane? If I'd heard that and then heard Iron Maiden, I would have never known how in a million years that he would have fit in, just personality wise. And like you pointed out, Wolfsbane's lyrics were basically working Joe, let's go out and have a beer, party, score some chicks. Man, work sucks. Those kind of lyrics,
Right.
It's so different. And much to Steve Harris' credit, he heard something in his voice that, that maybe Blaze didn't hear himself. I think Blaze does a good job. And again, I think he gets a lot of crap undeservedly for their low in stature in the United States. That had nothing to do with him. It just would have
It just had everything to do with the audience that was coming in and doing the concerts then, the audience that was fan of Iron Maiden in the 80s and in the early 90s probably didn't go to more concerts, or didn't want to go to concerts anymore. And the kids, because I mean, let's be real, the 90s, music concerts were a little bit more what was the best way to put it, rowdy. So why would you want to have your kids at that?
Yeah. I will say though, two things to Maiden's credit. Number one, their success didn't wane in Europe. No pun intended, Wayne. It didn't wane in Europe or in South America. They were still as popular as they ever were. In fact, I remember there was a Monsters of Rock in Brazil in '96 where Maiden headlined, and Merciful Fate and Halloween were also on the bill. So I was quite jealous of South America for them having that and us not having that. But
So I mean, even Greece was big into this. You know, we were big into Iron Maiden back in the day. So
and the funny thing is, when Maiden played New York City for the X Factor, they had Fear Factory as the opening band, and it was the weekend of the big blizzard of January '96, and Maiden had sold out the Academy of Music. That's where they played, and not one fan who bought a ticket didn't show up. Everyone still showed up to go see them and support them.
Now I have to ask this question because, well, I was very young during the blizzard of '96 and obviously not from New York. As I'm just assuming this, were you guys able to still walk to the venue?
Well, it started that Saturday, and like they were so as the show was about to begin, that's when it really started to like downpour on the snow. So the trains were still running. But come that Monday, Tuesday, for the first time in my life, they actually closed the New York City public schools. Like, that's how crazy the blizzard was.
Yeah. Sorry, can't relate.
That's okay.
Thanks, James. All right.
I was in New Jersey, but I remember it. We were out of school for like a week and a half.
We get school canceled on the threat of snow around here. So
yeah, this
you close school on one snowdrop.
Yeah, you're damn right we do.
Being in Florida, we had any snow here, they would definitely close schools.
You guys would die.
Exactly, we would die.
Tampa, you would die.
That's because we avoid that thing. What do you guys call that thing? Seasons? Yeah, we don't like that over here. So
God, must be
we don't
miserable
take
over there.
kindly.
We don't take it.
I mean, we don't like the
Northerners
Yankee
coming over
dandruff down here. You know, we don't like that type of the Connecticut cocaine. We don't like that out here, sir.
Connecticut cocaine. All right, ratings.
And Murphy says he saw Priest live with Ripper though, and he ripped. No pun intended.
A lot of puns going on this episode.
There is.
Jeez, yeah.
Just don't
We're all
make
gonna go to
fun
the
of me.
penitentiary for that.
The live album for the Jugulator tour, 98 Live Meltdown, is
It's
great.
fucking killer. It is
Everybody should seek that out.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking before you come on. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Jugulator, but I think it should be reprinted. I think that live album you should just mention be reprinted. Give Tim Owens some royalties, and don't try to bury that history. Whether it's good or bad, it's part of their history. It's part of their legacy, and I think it should be acknowledged. Iron Maiden play Sign of the Cross, I think, from time to time, so it should be acknowledged.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they did the Klansman as well the last time I saw.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I think it's Glenn that's embarrassed by it, because Rob's been interviewed a couple of times where he said he'd be willing and would even like to perform a couple of songs from Jugulator.
Yeah, we heard. I think Wayne. No, it was Lou mentioned that. I doubt the sincerity of that personally.
I brought that up. Lou denied did not think it was sincere.
I don't think I'm with Lou. That's like Ozzy saying, "I'd love to sing a Ronnie James Dio song. I'd like to hear him attempt to."
Yeah, I don't think he would want. I don't think he knows the
would have
lyrics
be
to
able
it.
Sing first before he could do Dio or a Sabbath.
I love Rob, but he's the ultimate politician. Let's face it.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
interesting
fun.
you brought up Iron Maiden never lost your popularity overseas.
Say that again,
you're
Manny.
right.
What?
No, I think it's interesting you brought up. You're right. Iron Maiden never lost their prestige overseas.
Well,
It's the same thing with
because
Black Sabbath with Tony Martin. Over here, they couldn't get arrested, but in pockets around the world, that version of Black Sabbath did very well, and people don't realize that. Anyway, Wayne, you were saying something.
kind of. Oh, sorry.
I didn't say anything. You were saying.
Oh, okay.
I,
Lou,
I mean, it kind of goes back to my conversation that I had with Michael Brandvold. It's like, yeah, it's great if you have a following in Europe or in Asia or South America, but like, where the money is, and I guess, it kind of goes into like a whole currency exchange thing amongst other things, but or just a general statement. But you know, America is where he stated that most bands or artists should aspire to, you know, sell the most records in their tour in, because it's where they would get the most revenue from, if you're talking from a complete music business standpoint. And the problem is with the American music scene, because it's not like that in Europe, and I experienced that firsthand. It's whatever radio plays, it's whatever MTV used to play when they did play videos, and it's whatever you heard in movies and television. So that was constantly shoved down your throat. So of course, metal to the mainstream audience was passe because everyone told them it was.
Yeah, that's true. Also, those labels, CMC, IRS Metal, in the case of Black Sabbath, they just didn't have the
Didn't have the marketing strength.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I mean, that's basically my point.
They didn't have the juice.
And a lot of cool bands though. I remember the Overkill was on their label, and
yeah, they had a
Judas
lot of
Priests.
great bands, absolutely. And that was probably another thing that bankrupted them, because you know, you have a band like Deep Purple, that takes a lot of money. That's not, you can't just say, well, here's $500 or whatever. You know, they're gonna put out a quality recording.
Well,
anyway,
look at Nuclear Blast is doing a great job. So
they're no Severed Angel.
What, man? Oh, what, Wayne?
They're no Severed Angel.
Oh,
well, who is? Who is?
Me and Lou are Severed Angel, plus George Dimitri and Mark Muchnick and Alex
like
Rapetti.
Metallica. Now you two have taken over the band.
And yeah, you can go find Severed Angel on YouTube. Actually, while you're on YouTube, right here, you can go and hit subscribe, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Just look up Severed Angel Band, and you'll find us. And also hit the subscribe button, because as I mentioned before, and I'm not sure who was here and who wasn't here. If you haven't hit subscribe, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and the 1,000 subscriber is going to win what, Lou?
The Def Leppard tribute album that Wayne and I are part of.
$1 million.
We did a cover of On Through the Night. It is on that compilation.
Don't
and
say that.
Very good cover.
We will give away $1 million out of Greg's, out of James' bank account. We will give $1 million.
Nope. Not on my bank account.
Oh,
Out of that Rat Salad Review bank account.
Yeah. Users talking over top of each other. What I heard was that James was going to give 1,000 people a Hummer.
Well, that too. That was if we get to 2,000.
Jeez, Greg, have you been listening to Turbo lately, you horny bastard?
Can we please give the ratings?
But yeah, please hit that subscribe button. I see we're at 8:33 right now, so nobody has hit the subscribe button. So hit the damn subscribe button.
Yeah,
you
bastards.
But whoever didn't, hit the fucking button. Devil Dozer. I have nothing much to contribute to Priest versus Maiden episode in the comments, as I was balls deep into death metal at the time, even having a death metal show on college radio in 1995. Bullshit. You were collecting video games, and you know it because you had a video game channel on YouTube. I saw it. Liar. Anyway, what are we giving Jugulator? James.
9.
Lou.
9.
Manny.
7.
7. That's a lot from you, I would have thought, from that album. Greg.
8.
8. And I'm gonna give it a 6. What?
I said I can understand why.
I definitely understand why too. Yeah.
Lou. For X Factor.
7.
7. Manny.
8.
8. Greg.
8.
8. James.
7.
7. How is fucking Jugulator going to beat X Factor?
Because it does.
Because it's better.
No.
Now that I don't agree with.
I don't agree with that either.
Better. However,
let me make sure
I
this is
will-
correct.
Jugulator 1. I got to cut out, gentlemen. I'll talk to you
All
later.
right. Take care.
One
Music
thing
is
I
Life
want to
podcast.
mention real quick,
Doesn't make sense.
Wayne, before I forget, the dude in the comments that was talking, I actually feel like there's a little bit of a death metal tinge to this album, always have, specifically in Scott Travis's drums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree, and that's why I like
agree
it more.
with that.
That's why it
I
wins.
agree with
But One thing I was going to say was, even though I personally like the X Factor better than Jugulator, Jugulator is an easier listen to all the way through and have it be rocking all the way. There are some sections on the Maiden that get a little long in the tooth, but overall they're pretty equal to me. I think they're both good records. Both have one or two songs I'm not really fond of, and both are new directions for the band. I have to say both of them came out fairly even here, other than I think Maiden had more heart in the songwriting.
I agree with Andrew Peters. Jugulator's lyrics are too cheesy for anything over a 6 or a 7.
Right.
Totally
Yeah,
agree.
he's
Coke.
right.
Better than Turbo.
Coke, yeah,
Let's
better than
do
Turbo.
it.
Coke.
I don't know.
Huff that.
I
Huff
can't
that
see how
copium, baby. Huff that
And-
copium.
X Factor.
No, I've been
Jugulator.
drinking the stuff under the sink, actually.
You have been. You've been on that. You've been on that shit.
All right, everybody hit that subscribe button. Win that CD. It's a very cool CD. We're on there with our cover song. And go find Severed Angel. That's my band, Lou's band. And I mentioned the other guys before, but go find Severed Angel Band on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Hit subscribe. James, anything else with you? Your podcast?
No Huddle Podcast. We are in week 2. We've been doing a nice little morning show with our friends over at I am blanking right now, but Sean has been helping us out with we've been doing a nice little college football preview on Saturday morning. So I'll be posting that when that comes out. Will not be this week for me because, well, I'll be busy being a government employee. So, but I'm really excited. Tennessee plays Pitt this week. Also, Florida and Kentucky. We'll have the picks. I'll put those in the comments on our show. See it.
Great. That sounds exciting. Everybody, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, James. And thank you, Greg, for finally showing up.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
You know, this was only your idea. So, you know.
Well, at least I'm here.
Yeah,
At least
he's
you're
at
here.
least
That's all
he's
that
at least he's at least holding the head of the dog while we proceed.
That's right.
But hey, I'm going to make it up to everyone for the ones I missed. I'm going to talk about them on Screams from the Grave, except for Somewhere in Time, which I've already done.
We already did that one. That's right. All right. Again, thanks everybody for coming and watching the show and joining the chat. Hit that subscribe button again and hit the like button. Share the show, please. And we will see you next week with more Judas Priest.
We need
and
to
Iron
start.
Maiden.
We need to start a poll too, so I can force you to listen to some old school death metal and early grindcore.
Yeah.
I know Devil Dozer would like that show.
I'm sure he would. I would. I would.
I would
be
be
talk about Disharmonic Orchestra.
I am thoroughly entertained and would be listening to that.
Well, the best thing about like Disharmonic Orchestra is they incorporate free jazz into their death metal and grindcore, and I just see Wayne being like, "What the fuck is this?"
Or is it Infinite Annihilator when they just start doing random shit?
Yeah.
I already feel like I'm going to throw up. See you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.
Aloha, everyone. Prelude, Timo.